You know, I love it when a plan comes together. I just bought a Gibson for the first time in years and years. The plan's together.
Guitar Stuff with John.
Welcome to another Guitar Stuff with John. So, you guys all know that I have not been easy on the big makers. Martin, Gibson, Taylor, I give them a lot of crap. And I can truthfully say that with the exclusion of Taylor, we have to put them aside for now. But Martin and Gibson, over the last, I'd say year and a half, have poured it on in a meaningful way. To the point where if you go into a music store these days and you pick up a Martin or a Gibson, they are miles above what they were even 2 years ago. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. I'm not taking credit for it, but the sentiments that I express on here, and that all the people that write to me, right, who share that same disappointment with these companies for not building guitars that they are capable of building, I think that companies like Martin and Gibson have actually started to listen to us. And they've upped their game. They've said, okay, enough of this crap. Let's really build guitars like we used to, like we know we can. Let's build them. Well, Gibson has done it. They've come back with guitars in the last year that I would pay money for. Martin as well has come back in the last year or so with guitars I would pay money for. Mind you, they're still too expensive for me. And when I say that, I want to make that clear as well. When I say I can't afford a guitar, it doesn't mean that I'm just talking about the sticker price. I'm talking about if I spend $5,000 to $7,000 on a guitar and I'm not sure that it's going to stay together, right? Martins have binding issues. They have neck issues. They have all these things that have been historically. Now, maybe now they're not. Maybe they've come ahead and they're doing their thing. But until I see evidence of that, I can't afford to pay that money on an instrument that may be in for warranty repair, which is a difficult thing to begin with, 6 months into owning it. I can't afford that. I can't afford to pay the $7,000 and then thousands more to get stuff fixed that will be blamed on me because of where I live and the humidity and the environment where I live. So anyhow, make a long story short, Gibson and Martin both, in my opinion, are now building guitars that I would very seriously consider laying money down for, and I did lay money down for this little doozy. This red, now this is a J45. A J45, this is like the 65 or 68, I can't remember which year this was, the 60, reissue. It just says 1960's J45 reissue. So there's a bunch of stuff about this guitar that's super cool. Number one, the color. It's red. It's a deep burgundy red. The back is the trad kind of mahogany back. But the top is gorgeous. White pickguard. Original adjustable saddle. Basically a giant piece of bone or tusk in a metal cradle that you can lift this thing up and down with screws. It's an old design, but it worked. And it works on this thing, because listen to what it sounds like. And these are the factory bench strings that came from Gibson. Not the best strings in the world. But it's a beautiful sounding guitar. I love it. It sounds really old. Beat it all out of tune, but it's a beautiful guitar. When I played it in the store, there was just no question. It was on a wall full of Gibsons. The other Gibsons weren't so good. This is quite a few months ago. They were good, but they weren't like this. This thing just has personality all over it. Beautiful. I love it. Let's take a close look at this thing. We've already been inside it with mirrors and lights, put a K&K pickup in it. Came with a Fishman. I ripped that out. I hate those. You know that. Put a K&K in. It sounds great. Plugged in. It's just a great road guitar. I hope she stays together. I think she will. I don't see any problems with it so far. Everything is still good. The reason I've been pushing Epiphone so much over the last 3 years, this is the reason. I think they put time and energy into Epiphone and made great guitars, and now they're coming back to Gibson and going, let's build the Gibsons with this much zest, right? And they are. I've played a bunch of Gibsons recently that just tore my head off. With dead, horrible bench strings. Still sounds great. Let's take a listen to it, or a look at it, and both. Take two, they're small. So here we are at the headstock of the 60s reissue J45. The gold foil name underneath the finish. We get the standard plastic pearloid buttons. Rosewood fingerboard. They use tusk, I think they use tusk. Might be using bone. Definitely not plastic. Standard rosewood. Very nice neck. This thing's got a beautiful neck. Then we come down here to the body and we see this beautiful burgundy. In this light it looks a bit black, but it really is red. I've been playing the crap out of it too, so there's dust and debris on it. There's a cool little Gibson logo with an inlay there. The white pickguard. And there's our sticker. Look at that. 1960s J45. And this is the thing here that I love. Look at this. This is the original kind of saddle that they had in these guitars in the 60s. It's a huge piece of bone with these sort of thumb screws. You need a screwdriver for it, but you can raise and lower this saddle, both sides of it. And it's one of the reasons I think that the guitar sounds the way it does. It's very woody, thumpy sound out of this guitar. And, yeah, I love it. Very nice. Now, inside this guitar, we looked all inside it, and it isn't perfection, but it's not gross either. It's definitely made in a factory. You can tell that, but yeah, there are some things like that little brace there has got some dings out of it and stuff. But I mean, it's not grotesque. For a factory-made guitar, it's not gross. So there you go. There's your back and sides and their standard kind of plastic ivoroid binding. Mahogany, back and sides. There we go. And that's it. Very, very simple. Very easy. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just a really well-made Gibson. And I appreciate that. I love this guitar. I like being able to pick up a guitar with that name on it and have it perform, which this one does. We've all been playing it. It's just a really nice guitar. So I'm so proud to have it, because for a long time I really wouldn't buy a Gibson or a Martin or any. I just wouldn't do it because it was too hard to find a good one. This one is a smoker, as most of them are right now. As I said earlier, Gibson's pouring on the steam. Good for Gibson. You guys rock. And so there you go. There's the 1960s J45 reissue, red burgundy top, white pickguard. It's just a great guitar. I love it. I'll be touring with this thing. It's just a nice guitar, and it sounds fantastic. Doesn't sound like any other J45 I've ever played, really, actually. And the reason I bought it, because J45s, the new ones, and most all of them are kind of a dead. They're meant to be that way. They're meant to be, sedate guitars that are designed for singer-songwriters playing rhythm. This guitar here, I can do anything on, because it's got a lot of personality. It's got lots of tone. It's bright but woody, and it just sounds fantastic. So much life to it. So much life. And I love that. It's just like getting to play a vintage Gibson. But it was cheap. Cheap compared to other Gibsons. It was 3,100 Canadian. That's not very much for this quality of a guitar from that company. So I must have lucked out. I think maybe Long and McQuaid had it on sale. I don't know what the deal was. It's a great guitar, and I'm not sorry I bought it in the least. Came with a beautiful flight case, pink interior. Love it. Anyhow, thanks to Gibson, our friends at Gibson, who also build my favorite Epiphones. There you go. There's the boys. And there you go. A hearkening back to a different time. When these guitars were, you could pick any one of them up anywhere and you'd put money down on the counter to take this home with you. So, and for me, the red, the white, the blingy look, that's perfect. A lot of people wouldn't like that. I love it. I love the sound of it. Makes me want to go write a song. And boy, am I going to put strings on it later. See you next time. Thanks to Gibson. Love you guys. See you soon.